Welcome to the Impact Zone with triple fellowship trained board certified psychiatrist Dr. Rhonda Maddox, where we learn how to pivot from pain to purpose with profit by telling your story. Enjoy.
Hi, family. I am here for a very important message, and this is regarding something that I think all of us deal with from time to time. Sometimes people hurt us unintentionally. Sometimes people that we love will hurt us unintentionally. They made mistakes, they acted out of ignorance, immaturity, carelessness, but it was not intentional. And then there are people who are intentional, who pursued the infliction of our pain. They didn't just wound us, but they targeted us. And who knows what that was for? Perhaps they disliked our influence or our favor or our relationships or our joy. I can't tell you how often people, my joy, my natural bubbliness has upset people. I can't tell you how often that happens. But sometimes people don't like you because you're happy. They don't like you because of the opportunities you have or the way people respond to you, the way they treat you. They are offended by just your existence and they seek to offend you in return. But this is what they do. They throw rocks and then they hide their hands. They operate in secret, hoping that you will explode in public. They try to provoke a reaction out of you that confirms the narrative that they've created about you. They want people to see you through the lens of their accusations rather than through the evidence of your character. And so they try to steal your happiness. They don't like your peace, so they try to disturb it. They don't like your hope, so they try to crush it. And they don't like your influence, so they try to undermine it. So what do you do when that happens? Now, when it happens and it's happening from people you work with or people you don't love or what have you, there's a way that we handle that. And we can just pick up our ball and go home. But then sometimes this happens by the people that you really, truly love. And when it happens, it's almost like an uppercut because you didn't see it coming because you love them. And you think when you love somebody, they're going to love you back. And sometimes we love people and they do not love us back. They do not like us. They do not want us to be happy or what have you. And so they do these little things and they try to plant seeds or what have you. And what do you do when that happens? Now, certainly, if you are a person of faith, there's a strategy I'm going to tell you to do that is different than I would if I were seeing you in the clinic and you told me that you were agnostic or you didn't really have a relationship with God. But I'm going to start with what to do if you are a believer. And the first thing is, we know that what is happening, what we're seeing is not everything that's happening. We know we don't wrestle against flesh and blood, but against principalities and powers and what have you. But the other thing is the Bible tells us to pray for those who persecute us. Now, it's not saying pray that they get hit by a peanut butter truck. But it does tell us to pray for those who persecute us. Because not because what they did was acceptable, not because justice does not matter, not because we are pretending it didn't happen, but we are to pray for a few reasons. Number one, because we don't want to become like who they are. And one of the things that happens when people attack you is that you get in defense mode. You try to go out and hold a press conference to clear up your good name, or send out a press release to clear up your good name. And that's not, you don't have to do all of that. You do not have to do all that. But what do you pray when someone has lied on you, rejected you, omitted you, plotted against you, and you know it? Because it's one thing when we don't know it, when we suspect it, but when we know it. And it says to pray for them. But before I tell you what to pray for them, let me tell you what to pray for you. Okay. Pray that you would be healed from the rejection. Pray that you would be healed from the devastation. Pray that you would be healed from the anger, from the bitterness. And that might be, Father, I know it was not an accident. They intentionally lied to me. They intentionally lied on me. They intentionally plotted against me. They intentionally misled others about me. And I bring them to you. Rebuke what is evil, correct what is wrong. Guard my heart so that I don't do what is wrong or become like them. I don't want to become the hurt that hurt me. I love them with all my heart, soul, mind, what have you. Heal that wound that this created by their reality. Heal the grief of perhaps a loss of relationship that accompanies that betrayal. Heal the loneliness that follows the rejection, and what have you. And don't allow me to give myself over to just meditating and ruminating over the people who have intentionally wronged me, you know. Um, and let me be clear. Some of us have been rejected by friends, by families, by business partners, by spouses, and we have experienced the painful reality of being surrounded by people who smile in public but despise us in private. We've done that, and some of us have done it so long that we just don't trust anybody. Pray that you would still have a good heart, that even while you're guarding your heart, you would not be numb in the process, and then be emotionally or spiritually just become a whole different person because of the hurt that you endured. Because you don't want to become like that. Okay, and so you pray for yourself first, and then what you might pray for them is that that they would be repentant, that they would be reconciled to God, um, that God would heal them from the wounds because that they have that they've not addressed. Because understand, in order to actively, intentionally go after harming someone, hurting someone, something has to have gone on, and so you want to also pray for their salvation, their sanctification, that their hearts would be responsive to God's voice. Um, that God would rescue them from whatever has convinced them that harming another person is justified. There is a way that seems right to a man, but the end thereof is destruction. And so retaliation seems right. Revenge seems right. An eye for an eye might seem right to you. A life for a life might seem right to you, but the end is destruction. And so after, you've prayed for yourself, heal me, Lord, protect me, Lord, strengthen me, establish me. Um, you know, I don't want to become cruel. I want to walk in truth with love. I want to walk in discernment without being paranoid, without being suspicious. I want to walk in forgiveness without abandoning healthy boundaries, those kinds of things. But here's the thing. I don't want to get to forgiveness too quickly because I want you to acknowledge the reality of the hurt. And the questions you might ask are, what specifically happened? What evidence supports my understanding of what happened? How has this impacted me? What am I grieving because of this? I remember a very public humiliation, and the thing that hurt the most was not even that they wouldn't acknowledge it, but it was that I had made a bad choice in my friend selection. That hurt. That hurt. That hurt a lot. Um, because then I was like, can I trust me? And betrayal will often create beliefs about your identity. Am I lovable? I must not matter. Everybody leaves me. I can't trust anyone. And so therapy helps you to examine those conclusions, whether they're accurate or understandable or what have you. And sometimes we need therapy, And then process your anger without being consumed by it. Understand this. Anger is a signal that a boundary was crossed. And so you want to not eliminate your anger per se, but to understand it. What is my anger protecting? What values do I have that were violated? And what action do I need to take? Many times we avoid this, and unprocessed anger becomes bitterness. And suppressed anger can become depression and anxiety and resentment and what have you. And so process the anger. Don't jump straight to forgiveness. And I'm not telling you not to rapidly forgive, but I'm saying process your anger, grieve what was lost. Oftentimes we focus on what they did, but we don't understand, we don't pay attention to the fact that we're grieving, that we lost something. We lost a relationship. We lost a trust. Perhaps we lost reputation or a sense of security. And so grief work can be really central to that healing. And then understand forgiveness and reconciliation are not the same thing. You know, you need um, to to process within yourself, is this person unsafe for me to be around? Um, when I try to have a conversation with them, was accountability present? What level of access should I give them to my life as we move forward? Maybe if they were on the inner circle, I'm not saying you cut them off completely. You navigate that in your prayer life or with your therapist. But what level of access should they have to my life, to my resources? You know, and I would just say, don't. One of the big parts of betrayal is the temptation to get cynical and suspicious and retaliatory and emotionally closed off. Work on maintaining your integrity. Work on acting according to your values. And, with a therapist, perhaps you want to choose your responses rather than reacting, you know, and certainly you want to integrate your faith into this walk, especially if you are a person who believes in incorporating prayer, forgiveness, trust in God, scripture, those kinds of things. And understand that two things can be wrong, can be simultaneously true. What happened to you was wrong, but you don't want that experience to define who you are or to define the rest of your life. And so it's important, that you not become so preoccupied with the offender. Why did they do this to me? Why don't they know they're wrong about me? Or whatever. And get to the, how do I want to live now? How am I going to navigate this? And, your prayer, um, might be, Lord, show me what is mine to carry and what belongs to you. Heal the places in me that were rejected, that were injured by this rejection. Heal me and help me to discern who is safe. Help me to establish wise boundaries. Help me to walk in forgiveness without abandoning wisdom. Free me from my bitterness, my fear, my need for revenge, and help me live according to your purpose, regardless of how others treat me. And so the healthiest outcome may not be reconciliation, but healing, clarity, freedom from bitterness, appropriate boundaries, and the ability to move forward without remaining emotionally captive to what someone did to you. And so this brief TEDx talk was just brought um, to you based on understanding that some wounds are accidental and unintentional by the people that we love, but some wounds happen to us by people that we love, and they were intentional. And when that happens, it can be devastating to know that maybe you made the wrong choice in who you selected. But I don't want you to be burdened down with unnecessary bitterness and paranoia as to other people's intentions. I want you to reclaim your agency, reclaim your faith, and reclaim your voice, and go in love. All right, I'm Dr. Rhonda Maddox, triple fellowship trained board certified psychiatrist, and I just wanted to drop that nugget in. I hope that you enjoyed it.